Congress has once again narrowly avoided a government shutdown by approving a short-term spending bill. The House cleared the continuing resolution in a bipartisan vote yesterday. The legislation extends funding for some government agencies through March 1st and for others through March 8th. Scott MacFarlane joins me now from Washington. I'm a little surprised, Scott. I thought that for sure I thought it was going to be a rinse and repeat. You know, you can pass it in the Senate, then the House was going to hold things up. There were some unexpected objections to the resolution, though. What more can you tell us about this, and where does support for Speaker Mike Johnson stand?
All this does is buy Congress 6 weeks. So there was little opposition, with the understanding this is only going to carry for 6 weeks, and they're going to have to get back to negotiating again on how to fund the government for 2024. This is work Congress should have done mid-year last year, but it has bled over into 2024 for a few reasons. One is the sticking point. There's an incredibly narrow U.S. House majority, and until the 11th hour before the deal was passed last night, there was this push from some Freedom Caucus members to attach border security reform to the spending bill. To keep the lights on and keep federal workers paid, they wanted a crackdown legislation on the border. Some of the things that Senate Democrats in the White House most certainly wouldn't support. The Speaker of the House did not agree to attach that, recognizing the deadline was approaching. They needed to keep the government open, and Congress had little time to play with. That said, Anne-Marie, that's really the sticking point, isn't it? Border security is going to find its way into all these big bills moving forward until something is done or somebody decides to punt on it altogether. Anne-Marie, that's one reason why Ukraine funding is now on hold.
Yeah, and so we know that, congressional leadership has been meeting at the White House trying to hammer out some sort of common ground legislation to get aid to Ukraine, to get aid to Israel, border security in exchange for an overall spending bill. Where do things stand with those conversations?
There are several different layers of intrigue here. First of all, there is this pressing need, Republicans argue, in the Senate. And the White House now acknowledges to do something on border security, and they've seemed to accept doing that as part of any plan to fund Ukraine. Senate negotiators are getting close, they say, to a deal to get this through, and saying that Ukraine needs the money and the border needs securing. But there's a question as to whether the U.S. House will even take it up. Donald Trump doesn't want Republicans to give away a deal to the White House on immigration. We brought our question about that, whether there's any road ahead, to House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries yesterday. Take a listen.
Yeah, that's a question that Speaker Johnson and Republicans are going to have to answer, and we may or may not confront that within the next week or two. I'm thankful that President Biden convened leadership from both sides of the aisle and both sides of the Capitol at the White House yesterday to talk about the urgent need to fund the Ukrainian war effort and to arrive at a bipartisan agreement on the other issues that are on the table, including improving the situation at the border. The president wants to solve the challenges facing the American people, including fixing our broken immigration system. But that has to be done in a bipartisan, common sense, humane, effective fashion. And it is not clear that many House Republicans actually want to address the challenges at the border as opposed to politicizing them.
Anne-Marie, Senate leaders have indicated we could see something on paper next week on Ukraine and on the border.
All right, Scott, thank you very much.